Americans are quietly packing their bags, and the reasons will shock you. What you are about to hear sounds unbelievable. Yet it is happening right now in cities, towns, and communities across the United States. For years, the United States has been known as a land of opportunity, a place where people come to chase their dreams, build a future, and live freely. But now, a silent migration is underway, one that most media outlets barely report on, and few Americans are even aware of. Every year, more and more citizens are choosing to leave their homes, their neighborhoods, and the lives they have built behind. They are moving to countries that, just a generation ago, many Americans wouldn't have considered living in. This exodus is not the result of a single factor. It is a combination of economic pressures, rising living costs, political uncertainty, social tension, and a growing sense that the American dream is slipping further and further away. Families are struggling to afford basic necessities. The cost of housing, groceries, healthcare, and education is climbing at rates that far outpace wages. Millennials and Gen Z, in particular, are realizing that the traditional paths to stability are disappearing, and opportunities in other countries look increasingly attractive. Professionals with skills in technology, medicine, finance, and engineering are finding that their talents can go further overseas, offering a higher quality of life, better work-life balance, and even tax advantages. You won't believe how fast this trend is accelerating. Cities that once thrived on young professionals and families are seeing declining populations. Suburbs are emptier, schools have fewer students, and local businesses notice the change as they lose long-time customers. Even wealthy individuals are reconsidering their choices. The reasons are not only financial but also social and political. Many Americans feel a growing sense of dissatisfaction with leadership at local, state, and federal levels. Decisions about healthcare, education, taxation, and law enforcement are leaving citizens frustrated, anxious, and uncertain about the future. One of the biggest surprises is the diversity of people leaving. It is not only the wealthy or highly educated. Teachers, nurses, skilled laborers, small business owners, and even retirees are choosing to move abroad. Countries like Canada, Mexico, Portugal, Germany, and New Zealand are attracting new residents by offering a mix of safety, affordability, healthcare, and freedom. While the reasons vary, the common thread is that people are searching for stability, opportunity, and a sense of control over their lives. They feel they are losing at home. The economic pressures are particularly intense. The cost of living in major cities like New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco has reached levels that many middle-class families can no longer manage comfortably. Rent and mortgage prices continue to rise faster than incomes, and student debt is crushing young adults who thought higher education would open doors. Inflation, unpredictable job markets, and rising energy costs are creating stress and anxiety that push people to explore alternatives. Even those who stay are rethinking careers, investing strategies, and lifestyle choices, trying to stretch every dollar while hoping for long-term security. But it isn't just money that is driving this migration. Social factors are playing a huge role. Many Americans feel disconnected from their communities. Political polarization has increased, leaving citizens frustrated and exhausted from constant debates, conflicts, and uncertainty. Issues of safety, healthcare access, and education quality make some families question whether they can raise their children with the stability they hoped for. In some cases, the media's focus on sensational stories leaves people feeling disconnected from reality. As they search for answers and solutions elsewhere, technology also plays a significant role. Remote work has created unprecedented freedom for professionals. Today, someone can work for a U.S. company while living in Portugal, Thailand, or Costa Rica, enjoying a lower cost of living, better climate, and a slower, more relaxed pace of life. This trend has opened doors for a wave of digital nomads, freelancers, and entrepreneurs who realize that physical location no longer limits income. The combination of economic, social, and technological factors has created an environment where leaving the U.S. is not only feasible but often attractive. The impact on the United States is subtle but real. Population declines in certain areas affect local economies. Schools lose students, affecting funding and programs. Local businesses face shrinking customer bases, and communities experience a quiet but noticeable shift in demographics. At the same time, other countries are benefiting from an influx of skilled professionals, families and retirees who bring experience, knowledge, and spending power. Some experts warn that if this trend continues, it could have long-term consequences for the U.S. workforce, innovation, and economic competitiveness. What is perhaps most shocking is how quietly this is happening. There is no dramatic headline story that captures the full scale of this migration. No one wants to believe that the United States, a country long considered a global leader, is quietly losing its citizens in record numbers. But statistics show it is real. Surveys, government data, and migration patterns all indicate that the number of Americans choosing to live abroad is growing steadily. And unlike past generations who may have moved for education or adventure, many of today's immigrants are leaving because they see no future for themselves under the current conditions. Families face difficult choices. Parents worry about schools, healthcare, and safety. Young adults weigh career opportunities against rising debt and uncertain housing markets. Retirees consider taxes, healthcare cost, and overall quality of life. Many are discovering that other countries can offer solutions that the United States currently struggles to provide. And once someone makes the move and experiences life elsewhere, they often become even more convinced that leaving was the right decision. The emotional toll of this trend is significant. Leaving behind your home, friends, family, and community is never easy. Yet for many, the promise of stability, opportunity, and a better future outweighs the pain of separation. People share stories of relief after moving abroad, of finally finding peace of mind, access to quality healthcare, affordable housing, and a sense of freedom they no longer feel at home. These stories spread quietly online, in forums, social media groups, and communities of expats, inspiring others to consider the possibility for themselves. It is also worth noting that this is not an overnight phenomenon. Migration takes planning, saving, and research. Those who leave are making calculated choices, seeking the best options for their careers, families, and personal well-being. But the fact that so many are willing to take such steps highlights the depth of dissatisfaction and concern among Americans today. This is not a temporary trend. It is part of a long-term shift in mindset and priorities. So, what does the future hold? If this trend continues, the United States could see significant demographic, economic, and social changes over the next decade. Cities may need to adapt to shrinking populations in certain areas while addressing growing demands elsewhere. The economy may feel pressure as talent and skilled workers move abroad. And families will continue to weigh tough choices, seeking balance between staying home and exploring new opportunities around the world. The takeaway is clear. Americans are leaving in record numbers, not because of a single reason, but because multiple factors, financial, social, political, and technological, are creating conditions that push people to explore life elsewhere. Awareness of this trend is critical for anyone trying to understand the current state of the United States, the challenges facing citizens, and the broader implications for society and the economy. Watching this video can help you understand the hidden forces shaping America, the reasons behind this quiet exodus, and what it means for families, professionals, and the future of the country. The story is emotional, relatable, and full of insight into real people's lives, choices, and struggles. It is not just news. It is a wake-up call that highlights the realities most Americans are only beginning to see. By paying attention to this trend, you can gain perspective, learn from the experiences of those leaving, and perhaps even rethink your own priorities and decisions. The United States may still hold opportunities, but it is clear that the world is changing, and many Americans are choosing to embrace those changes in new countries where life feels more stable, affordable, and secure. You won't believe this trend, yet it is happening right now. And while it is quiet, slow, and largely unnoticed, the scale is enormous. Families, professionals, retirees, and students are all seeking something better. And for many, that means leaving the country they call home in search of a brighter, more manageable future. Americans are quietly leaving, and the reasons will shock you. Understanding why this is happening is key to understanding the changing face of the United States and the world. It is a story of hope, struggle, adaptation, and the universal human desire for a better life. The question remains, if so many people are choosing to leave, what does that mean for the country, for those who stay, and for the generations to come? The world is changing rapidly, and this silent migration is one of the clearest signs of that change. By paying attention, sharing information, and learning from the experiences,